Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mikey Loco's How-Tos. Today we're working on a Polar Express train here. Very, very popular around the holidays here. Happy holidays, by the way. These are very, very popular. They're still making to this day. This one's about 10, 15 years old maybe. And this one recently stopped working. It has brand new batteries in it. And we just keep going down the track and just kind of quit. Just totally die out, like the batteries died out or poor connection. So at first we thought it was the cold tender card here. You know, the wiring inside, pulled all that apart. It's just a couple screws on the bottom side here. And the whole thing comes apart so you can check the wiring on the inside. Real simple. Well, this little wire here that goes to the main engine, we figured that was the issue. On the inside, though, there's a knot tied. So you can't yank on it and ruin the internal solder joints on there. So, of course, that was all good to go. It's pretty standard electronics nowadays. And we figured that maybe the jack pins on here are just worn out. But really, how often you really use these just around the holidays, right? So how could this jack and port on the engine be worn out? So I pulled apart the engine next. And, of course, we knew if we kind of put the... let me bring in a bit here. What we found out is that if we attach the connection, connected it up on the back side of the engine here, like normal, and we kind of lifted it up just a little bit, the train would power up and start working. And then it would quit once you let go. So that's why you figured the jack was worn out on here. So I went ahead and I pulled apart the engine, like I said, and I started looking at it. I'm like, is it really that messed up inside of there? It can't be really worn out. And then I'm looking at the actual little jack here that's soldered to the board, and I'm looking, and it moves quite a bit. But there's really no solder attachment points up here or on the sides to hold it and keep it secure on the board as you're plugging and unplugging it. So what I found on here, which I was hoping I would find, is a broken solder joint. So this jack on here, it moves around, kids plugging it in all the time, and it lifts up, as you see here. Well, it rocks back and forth, and those pins that stick through from the jack to the PCB board here, they'll crack the solder joints eventually, especially if they don't use the lead-free, or if they use the lead-free solder, which is inferior to the old style solder. So I'll try to zoom you in here and show you, because this is the only way I could even think to see a broken solder joint. So I'm flexing the jack over here. And you see them moving there? They've literally broken away. So the pins are still good and attached to the jack here, but they've broken away. So when we lifted it, you can see it contacts the solder glob that's on there and completes the circuit through the board and through the wires and powers the train. But it moves a little bit, and look at that. You see it poking through like that? So if you guys are having this issue with your Polar Express train, this one's from Lionel, and this is most likely your issue. So, a couple of screws in the bottom, it gets rid of the whole, the wheels and all that stuff in the motor, and it's just the board inside here and wiring, and then this is screwed down right here, okay? It's very simple. So you can go ahead and take it off, look at it for yourself, and then just use a regular pencil tip solder iron, and some good, like a magnifying glass, or zoom in with the iPhone like I'm doing, and you can reflow the solder joints, make it nice and hot, one at a time, and then let them cool, and they should be nice and shiny like these ones. Let me show you. It's hard to tell with the glare, but these ones are nice and shiny, like a shiny solder glob. Once they're dull, that's called a cold solder joint, and it'll work, but it won't work for long. It's a poor connection on there, so they should be nice and shiny like this when you're done. So take your time and do one at a time on there. And then what I'm going to do in the end is, once it's all secure and we're back down to the board, okay, I'm going to actually use, get it all back together, let it cool a little bit. And I'm going to use something like this, the Gorilla Glue, something like that. There's a lot of different ones out there. Shoe Glue is good also. And I'm going to try to coat the board here on each side to support this jack so it doesn't pop up and down. I think it bolts in just like this and pokes through, almost positive. Yeah, it goes through like that. So I'll go ahead and I'll put a big glob around there on the outside to kind of support this so it doesn't happen again. That's all though. I figure it's the holidays and you guys may be going through this yourself, and this is probably the problem you're having, and this is how to fix it. It's very, very simple. Free flow to solder, secure a little bit better, screw it back together, basic Phillips screwdriver, and that's it. All right. See you guys next time.